D&D has many sourcebooks, from the player's handbook to the monster manual to the dungeon master's guide. To add to the confusion, people always abbreviate these things like PHB, MM, and DMG. That is why today I will be explaining all of the sources to you, so you know what people mean when they talk about VGTM and ZGTE. Before I begin, I will be covering playtest or partnered content. Sorry I won't be going into Wayfinder's Guide to Eberron in a 5-second summary when there is a superior version. So, let's begin. Basic rules. The first is the basic rules. This is completely free and it has all the races and subclasses, but has limited amounts of feats, no subclasses, limited subraces, and other pretty annoying limitation. It's like a worse version of the Player's Handbook, aka the PHB. This is an essential purchase if you want to play D&D. This contains all the feats, spells, magic items, classes, races, subraces, and subclasses that you would need to start off. I'm going to reiterate one sentence later. This is a most vital book for playing or even running D&D. Dungeon Master's Guide, aka DMG. This isn't absolutely essential to being a dungeon master, but if you are doing anything other than running straight from the adventure book, you better get this. And even if you are not, it is still extremely helpful. This provides basically everything you would need to know to DM a custom campaign of Dungeons & Dragons. This also gives advice on how to run the game and provides tables for loot and such. If you are going to do a custom campaign, you may also need the Monster Manual, aka MM. This provides 150 different monsters to sprinkle across your world, from easily slain zombies to the mighty, nigh unkillable Tarrasque. This is necessary for building your own encounters with monsters. You don't just get monsters for your player to fight, you can also get things like the UNT, which are NPCs they can talk to and aren't mindless drones that want them dead. Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. This is the first campaign setting I will talk about. This is a location in the Forgotten Realms, the standard location for D&D campaigns. Sword Coast is the location where Lost Mines of Phandelver takes place, as well as most other official campaigns. Volo's Guide to Monsters. This is basically the Monster Manual too, which has several more niche monsters. Don't expect to see normal D&D enemies in here like goblins, dragons. You do, however, get goblins, orcs, and other monsters as playable races. So if you really want to play an orc, goblin, or cat person, you know who you are. It's your $30 funeral. Oh, side note, if you use D&D Beyond, you can buy individual pieces of the pack if you just want the races for character creation. You can just get them all for $10, so that's neat. Xanathar's Guide to Everything, aka ZGTE, is basically the Player's Handbook 2. It gives you niche character customization options in the forms of feats, spells, magic items, races, subraces, and subclasses. Do you see why I call this Player's Handbook 2? Oh, this also contains a lot of DM tools, so I guess think of it as a guide to everything. The total package contains a few monsters and the race depicted on the cover, the Tortle. These are basically turtle people. If you make a character with this race, you are legally obligated to name them Oogway. You can also name them after a ninja turtle, but if you do that, you are on thin ice. Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. This is just Monster Manual 3, filled with foes you only find in the campaigns of dungeon masters who go wild with campaign locations. You also get some sub-races, and a new race called the Gith. Another for your collection of races that will make everyone at the table say, "A what?" And you have to explain the deep lore like the smart little cookie that you are. Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. This is a source book for the campaign world of Ravnica, which is run by guilds that have wars, alliance, and basically function as nations. Basically Stellaris, but everyone's playing a megacorp. This statement will probably piss off both the people who know more about Stellaris than me, and the people who know more about D&D than me. In this, you get a lot of monsters that fit into the world of Ravnica, some races, and, of course, subclasses. Eberron, Rising from the Last War, usually just called Eberron, is one of the most unique fantasy campaign settings out there. For starters, it takes everything that is standard in fantasy settings and flips it on its head. For example, goblins are sort of the old rulers of the land that are now shadows of their great selves and not just bandits. The world also contains technology to some degree. In this expansion, you are given more races. Most interestingly is the Warforged, a robot animated with magic. You also get access to the Artificer class, whose ability is to make magic items with infusions. Explorer's Guide to Wildemont. This is the world Critical Role uses, so if you are a respectable member of the Cowboy Voice Fan cult, this is for you. Has some subclasses, races, you know the drill. Mythic Odysseys of Theros. This campaign setting has players as mythological heroes rather than simply exceptional commoners. Also, like any heroic tale, the heroes have a direct line of communication with the gods. It also has many Greek influences, so if you read a lot of Percy Jackson in 5th grade, or you just have an interest in Greek myths, this is for you. That just about covers all the source books, except the unofficial and partnered content. Hopefully, you know what things are, and you know what to buy. Explorer's Guide to Wildemont. Wildemont? Did I seriously say Wildemont? Oh my god.